Happening now, Ohioans throughout Central Ohio are casting their ballot. It is Election Day, and this is a live look at Tuttle Park Recreation Center. Voters have until 7:30 tonight to cast their ballots for the November general election. Ohioans are deciding on local items such as mayoral races, liquor licenses, and school levies, as well as two statewide issues. Those include Issue 1, which would enshrine the right to an abortion and other reproductive care into the state's constitution, and Issue 2, which would legalize recreational marijuana for those over the age of 21. Thank you for joining us for NBC4 Midday. I'm Matt Barnes. Polling centers have been open since 6:30 this morning, but you still have several hours to get out and cast your ballot. Matthew Herchick has been talking to voters at a few locations this morning. And Matthew, what are voters saying about this contentious election?
Right there. Matt, good morning. No matter what side they fall on, voters I've talked to say that they're out here today because this election affects issues critically important to them and a lot of Ohioans. And you can see behind me, while there's not any crazy lines, there have been a steady flow of voters from a number of different polling locations that we've been to throughout the morning. And you mentioned the polls open at 6:30 this morning. This is a look at the Whetstone Recreation Center nearly 5 hours ago when the polls first opened. Dozens of voters already in line and casting their ballots first thing this morning. Of course, there are two statewide issues that voters will see on their ballots. Issue 1 would enshrine the right to abortion in the Ohio Constitution, while Issue 2 would legalize recreational marijuana for Ohioans 21 and up. But there are a number of other important items on the ballot for some, including a Columbus City Schools levy and a Columbus Metropolitan Library levy. Voters I talked to today told me about how they prepared for this election and shared their experiences so far at the polls.
Debating and conversing about it has helped me with making my decision, and it's not just with people that agree with me, it's with people that don't agree with me, and just having that open dialogue I think is important.
We're just literally 5 minutes away from here, and there's no line, so the process is super smooth, and I'm thankful for the volunteers as well. There are plenty of them, and everything is great.
Now, again, the polls will stay open until 7:30 this evening. Matt, of course, a reminder for all voters out there, as long as you are in line by 7:30, you will be able to cast your ballot. And, of course, we'll have full coverage of all of the results as soon as they start to come in, both on air and online at NBC4i.com. Local for you in Columbus, Matthew Herchick, NBC4.
Matthew, thank you. Today, COTA is waiving bus fares to make it easier for voters to get to the polls. You can find your voting location on the Franklin County Board of Elections website. Then plan your trip at COTA.com or through the Transit app. COTA also has a help center that you can contact. Those links can be found on NBC4i.com. Some last-minute reminders for you before you head out to the polls. These are some of the acceptable forms of ID that you can show: an Ohio driver's license, State of Ohio ID card, U.S. passport, and Ohio National Guard ID card. All photo IDs must have an expiration date that is not passed. They also must have a photo of the voter and voter's name, which must substantially conform to the voter's name as it appears in the poll list. The Franklin County Board of Elections tells NBC4 more than 52,000 people in the county voted early, broken down by party affiliation. Most of them, more than 28,000, were registered as independents. More than 18,000 registered as Democrats, and more than 5,400 were registered as Republicans. GOP leaders say they are confident a flood of their members will turn out today. Now, a half dozen races across Franklin County will have spaces for write-in candidates. But if you can't write in any name, you just can't write in any name you want if you want your vote to count. 8 people have declared themselves write-in candidates. The Columbus mayoral race will have 2 candidates, Carrie Griffin and Allison Wilford. Columbus City School Board features write-in candidate Rhonda Stovall West. Village of Bryce mayor includes John Mathis and Laura Runyon. You can find a full list of those write-in candidates on NBC4i.com. And NBC4 is your local election headquarters. Again, polls will close this evening at 7:30. You will get all the results in real time as they come in. Results on air and on NBC4i.com all night long.